COMSC 122. We're near the end of the course. We're down to, this is chapters 15 and 16 tonight, just 2 more lectures after this. So let's start with that. Here's chapter 15, and I run this thing in Google Colab as usual. So we're going to talk about classes and methods. So in the previous chapter, we defined a time class that recorded time of day in hours, minutes, and seconds, and could do various things with it. And so now we're going to define it, and we're going to make methods. So before we defined a thing called time, and then defined a function called print time of time, which would then print out the hours, minutes, and seconds of it. And you can do it that way. Right, but this is an independent function that works on a time object. You could make it a method attached to the time object. All you have to do is indent it further, and then you have a class time, and a method is attached to the object, and now instead of taking in a parameter, time, you refer to the self. So it'll be a time object. You can print the time of that object with self here with the same kind of calculation. And so now you can pass it a time object. So we're going to have a function that makes a time object out of hours, minutes, and seconds, as we've done before. And so now we can make a time instance at 9:40, and now we can do time.printtime of start. As part of the time class, we have a print time method. So you can do it this way, and that prints it. And this is a possible way to refer to a method of a class, but what's more common is the shorter way, where you specify the instance of the class, and then a dot, and then just the function. So start.printtime will, instead of passing in start as an argument, it will pass it in on the left here as the particular time object you're working on, and it runs the print time method on that object. This is the most common way you see this function performed. All right, so here's another function, time2int, that we did before. We'll just calculate how many seconds since the start of the day, and this is it written as a separate function, and this is how you rewrite it as a method. You indent it more and add it to time, so now it'll be time2int of self. And so now we can do start time2int, and we'll get the number of seconds since the start of the day at 9:40 a.m. All right, now you can also make static methods. Now suppose you want to take int to time of seconds. That you can certainly write a function to do that, but to add this to the time object, you're not going to be able to use self because the time object is not seconds. So you can still do it though. You can define int to time of seconds here. It'll be included in time. It's called a static method, which is a method that does not require an instance of the class to be invoked. Because here I'm feeding in an integer of seconds. There is not a time object yet. We're going to return one, but there isn't one to start from. So you have to call it this way, time.int to time of 3400. That's how you would do it. So it'll work. And I'm not even sure I know what the benefit of doing it this way is instead of separate there, but it is an option you can do. All right. Now you have time.int to time. So now we can do it, we can add time. We can take a starting time and add some hours, minutes, and seconds. So we make time of hours, minutes, and seconds, and then turn this one into integer and this one into integer, add them together, and then run int to time. That's one possible way to add 2 time durations together. That's the independent function method, function technique of doing this. Here's a method attached to time. And now, therefore, the first time will come in as self, being the time value passed in to start this. So now we can have end equals start and add this much more time to it and then print it. So we go from 9:40 to 11:12. All right, and we can also do a comparison where we have is after time 1 and time 2. It'll just tell us if you turn them into integer, which one is bigger than the other. This is as an independent function. Here it is as a method, where the first one is self, and traditionally use other as the second one. Just a possible word, it's going to be a time object. And so now you'd have end is after start. So it sort of makes a good sentence. The self is end, and start is the other parameter you feed in. All right, let me get rid of this noise. All right, and so another one is the string method, which takes an object and turns it into a string. So this will convert any object to a string. __str is the built-in method. And here you can define the method for a time object, which will just print it out in this format. So now you can do end dot underscore underscore string underscore underscore. These underscores generally indicate a method that is automatically used by internal functions at Python and not normally invoked by a developer, because that's sort of your reminder of that, but you can invoke them, so you'll get the string version of a time. You can also invoke it for them with the str function. The str function will automatically use this method, and we're going to see a lot of these things where a lot of these convenience functions, in fact, rely on this method existing in the class of the object. So if you just print a time object, it'll automatically convert it to a string using the underscore underscore str underscore underscore method. They're called special methods. All right, another one is init, which initializes the attributes of a new object. So you can have this one, you can define init that will create the time object itself, and it'll fill in hours, minutes, and seconds if they have been provided. If they haven't been provided, it will assume a default of 0. So if you make time of 940, you get 940. If you make time without specifying it, you'll get 000. If you provide one argument, it'll override the first, which is hour. If you provide 2, you'll get hours and minutes, and so on. So it's pretty good. All right. So like I say, if you write a class, it's probably good practice to define init and then define string. Init is easier to create objects, and string is useful for debugging. Now you can operator overload. If you define a method called add for the time class, you can then use the plus operator. So we define an underscore underscore add underscore underscore object that'll add self to other by turning them both to integers and then turning it back into time. And now you can just do end equals start plus duration, where both of these are time objects. It interprets the plus sign, will look for this underscore underscore add underscore underscore method. All right. And so to debug it, you might consider all the illegal values like a negative time or a time greater than 60, that sort of thing. So you might define a method to determine whether something is valid. If the hours less than, if any of the parameters less than 0, if minutes or seconds are greater than 60, if the hour is not an integer or the minute is not an integer, then you should return false, otherwise true. This is some tests for validity. So I notice it doesn't check to see if the hour is greater than 23 or 24. Anyway, it does check for some methods that would detect invalid. And then you can make, you can redefine is after to check for this. These assert commands will check to make sure it's valid. If it's true, it will do nothing. If it's not true, it will pop up an error telling you what's wrong. So you make sure both of these are valid before working on them. That will prevent these errors. So here I'm going to make a duration, this time, at minute equals 132. So now I've created an invalid time. So now if I try to use that, that is duration. So if I try to say start is after duration, it will complain, assertion error, others is not a valid time. So that's useful. And it's specified up here, the message is to print. So this is a little bit of error handling. All right, and that's all there is for this one. I'm going to stop this recording.